Hi there. So today we're going to speak about epigenetics and design and why that's relevant, why that even matters, this field of epigenetics. Like how is science related to design and what's going on in our home? So I'm going to wait for some people to pop on. Hi there. Hey, if you're just jumping in, I'd love to know where you're from. If you want to just say hello from wherever you're joining from, that would be great. I am in the San Juan Islands in Washington State, so I am halfway between Seattle and Victoria, so between the US and Canada. So yeah, I'd love to know where you're joining from if you feel like sharing. So we're going to talk about epigenetics and design. And if you are raise your hand if you are familiar. Hi from Venezuela. Thank you. If you're familiar with epigenetics, because I'm going to do a little review just in case some people aren't familiar with it. So to me, the godfather of epigenetics is Bruce Lipton. And if you're not familiar with his work, I highly recommend you check him out. He's a captivating speaker and brilliant mind. So epigenetics is the science that studies how our environment influences outcomes. And so the research started with studying stem cells in petri dishes. And so what Bruce Lipton did, and I believe it was 1967, when he was a cellular biologist, he took identical cancer stem cells and he put them in 3 separate petri dishes. And each of those petri dishes had a different environment. And what he suspected was that there would be a different outcome in each of the petri dishes. And that's exactly what happened. Each of those identical stem cells, originally identical stem cells, were put in the different petri dish environments, and they all proliferated differently. So this substantiated that science of epigenetics. And so if you think about, we are a collection of cells, right? We are the symphony of cells, and our home is our primary environment. So our home is like our petri dish. And so what is happening in our home is impacting us on different levels. And if you want an example of this, just take a moment and imagine if you were stuck in a prison cell for 3 weeks. And you couldn't get out, you were locked in, you had a little window, and you had a cot, and you had dark walls. Imagine what this would do to you on a cellular level, on a psychological level, on an energetic level. How would this affect you? And then I want you to think about living in a beautiful retreat. You have your own little bungalow and it's overlooking a big body of water, and there's birds and there's flowers and trees and shade, and you get to be here for 3 weeks. Imagine how good you're going to feel waking up each day. Imagine how good you're going to feel going to bed every night. And so this is an extreme example of the influence of our environment on our physiology, our psychology, and just our energetic being. And so this gives you an example of how our home is impacting us, okay? And so each room in our home impacts specific areas of our life. And so if there is something going on within our home, it's also going to be reflected in what's going on in our life. Okay, yes. So someone just said, our body always responds to our emotions. And that's exactly right. Within a split second, it's constantly occurring, whatever we see a stimulus in our environment and we experience it through our 5 senses. And then the subconscious mind has a thought, because our subconscious is like a data bank, and our subconscious has a thought which immediately creates an emotion. And simultaneously, when we have that emotion, every single cell in our being is responding to whatever that emotion is. And so if we can become masters of our emotion, then we're going to become masters of our longevity and our vitality. And one way that we can do that is to start having our environment inform those things we want to think and feel about. And this is why my branch of neurodesign is so significant, because we haven't, as a population, as a culture, as a society, as humanity, for the most part, we have not tapped into the connection between what's going on in our environment, what's going on in our mind, and what's going on in our body, and what the byproduct of that is, what the outcomes of that are. And so that's what neurodesign is all about. And that's what my certification program is about. And that's what the Reset program is all about. It's getting us to work with this feedback loop that starts with our environment, and then it goes into a thought, and then it turns into an emotion, and then it's the energy that we're feeling and radiating out. And so if you're interested in learning more about the certification program or implementing the Reset program into your own experience, type Reset for the Reset program, and you can type school for the certification program. And so this program is really exciting because it's on the edge of I want to say, so it's not on the edge of neuroscience, but it's bridging neuroscience with design. And I'll even go as far as to say like higher consciousness, because what happens is when we bring our awareness to how our environment is impacting our thoughts and our emotions and our energy and what's showing up in our life, then it kind of changes the whole game, right? Because then it's like we are given keys to the secret power that we didn't even know existed before. So anyway, I'm super excited about it. If y'all have any questions, or if you're interested in learning more about this approach, it integrates epigenetics, neuroplasticity, the reticular activating system, and it also combines like an anthropologic view of how we use space and how we experience space on a primal level. And so a lot of this is based in human ecology. And then, of course, it's also design, and a huge part of it is desire. Because if you think about if our feelings and our emotions are impacting our cells, then our desire and what lights us up, those emotions that get us excited, that is also impacting us on the cellular level. And so we want to integrate our desire in like more fully into our day-to-day experience. And we want to integrate it into the space of our home and the environment of our home, because when we do that, we're activating and we're regulating the nervous system in two ways. We're doing it through bringing our desires into the conversation, and we're doing it through bringing the design and the interior space of our home into the conversation. And so all of a sudden, we've got these two fabulous opportunities to support our nervous system. So I'm going to end it a little bit short today. If anyone has any questions, I'm more than happy to ask, or any direction you'd like the conversation to go. I really just want to bring home this awareness of epigenetics and how it is an integral part of, I don't want to say design. I use the word design so that people know that we're talking about home. But here's the thing about design is, design, we want to start thinking of it as how we adapt our space so it better supports the outcomes that we want, so it better supports the experiences we want. And so we want to shift our understanding of design as not this sort of high society sport. It's a way of reaching optimal well-being. Okay, so here's a question. So meditation may help. Yes, so meditation is all about, so one of the things when I speak of home, I speak of our physical environment, but it's also our internal environment. So whenever you hear me speak of home, I'm speaking of the external space of our home, but also the internal space of our mind and body. And so you bring up a great point with meditation. Meditation helps us cultivate the internal space of our mind, body, nervous system. And I was going to do a talk on like the 10 obscure reasons why we meditate, because there's so many reasons why we meditate. And one is to cultivate this relationship with our mind and to get more familiar with the landscape of the mind. And another reason is because it gives us an opportunity to just pause the chatter. Because right now, we have 50,000 to 75,000 thoughts every single day. And when we meditate, we're quieting that down. And so with NeuroDesign, we're working with the physical space of our home and how it influences the inner landscape of our mind. And so meditation is like making space for more of what you want. And that's sort of a phrase that I use a lot. And in the work that I do is we want to make space for more of what we want. And that's why our desire is so important. And that's why the space of our home is so important. And that's why the landscape of our mind is so important, because each is an opportunity for creating more space for what we want. Okay. Are there any other questions? That was a great question, by the way. And is it Adrian, I think? Okay. So if there aren't any questions, I will be saving this recording. So if you popped in late, you can definitely check it out later, and feel free to ask me any questions. And again, if you're interested in implementing NeuroDesign within your home, type reset in the comments and I'll send you a link to that program and you will get the free masterclass, Power of Home and Mind. Thank you for being here. And then if you're interested in the certification program that's NeuroDesign and Consciousness, type school in the comments below, and I will send you a link to that program as well. And as always, thank you so much for being here. I will be posting the recording. And as always, if you have any questions, feel free to DM me with a memo or an audio. All right. Have a beautiful day.